Okay, people, so we have another official released leak page for Boruto 2 Blue Vortex chapter 14. The chapter comes out in a couple of days, and I wasn't aware that they actually released 2 leak pages, which is freaking awesome. And I know that the unofficial spoilers and summaries are all probably already out circulating or whatnot, but just being real, at this point I'd prefer to just be authentic with the releases that are official. So I'm only going to be covering the second leak page until we get the full-on chapter. So please be respectful of other people that would prefer to stay spoiler free outside of the official leaks. Okay, now with that being said, wow. So the second page that they released, I love how it's totally different from the first leak that we got regarding Sakura being involved in the chapter, because yeah, you know, you want to give people a little bit more to expect for the upcoming chapter. And with this one, it seems like they decided to go with the Shinju people, and it's showcasing that what we saw in the last chapter, how the last chapter ended off with essentially them birthing another Shinju person. It seems as though there ain't gonna be that much of a wait for this character. It's not going to be like we're going, you know, 2 chapters before we see them moving and whatnot, because yeah, this new character is awake. And basically what we got is 2 panels. The top panel says, how are you feeling? Have you woken up? Which I will say that regardless of what, it is something interesting to note on the way that they converse with these people. These Shinju, despite the fact that they were originally from, you know, the 10 Tails and all of that, they don't come across as completely cold-hearted with their comrades. While yes, Jura and Hidari put in work in the Hidden Leaf Village and they were kicking butt and taking names, ultimately it doesn't seem to be the case when it comes to amongst one another. It seems as though there's a level of camaraderie, because the same thing was said when Hidari first awoke. They were asking him if he's okay, if he knows his name. So they have a level of a bond, I would definitely say, amongst themselves, which is again a testament to the fact that they have obtained knowledge and consciousness from them reading books, from just in general having some level of individuality, despite them having some sort of attachments to the people and the friends and family of the people that they're basically replicated from, which only builds to the credibility of their threat as villains, because essentially, yeah, they're not going to allow their comrades, if they have the opportunity, to fall down. But then in the second panel, we find out that this character, and we get a little bit of a better look at the character as well. His name is either, depending on which translation you go with, Grain or Ryu, which I kind of looked a little bit closely into both of the names just to get an idea, because oftentimes via a name, if you look deeply into what the name means, a lot of the times these authors base certain aspects and characteristics off of coming from a name that they picked, or essentially you could get an idea about the character, because a lot of people, ever since this character was revealed, had 2 different speculations as to who was the original character that this Shinju was based on. I personally went with, it kind of reminded me more of Shinki, aka Gaara's stepson, but there was a lot of people that have been saying, no dude, that's clearly Baryon mode Naruto. And based off of this image, looking closely at his face and whatnot, he has the stripes on the side of his face that definitely give you that look of like Baryon mode Naruto, or just Naruto in general. The top of his hair, it kind of looks like homie's wearing a wave cap or something. I don't know, homie, you know, thugging it out, got the do-rag going, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of that sauce, a little bit of that drip. And while initially I was leaning more towards it being Shinki, there was an aspect that I took a closer look at that made me think, well darn, this could potentially be based off of Naruto. Because you always got to keep in mind, especially now that we have official confirmation from Kishimoto himself, that the blueprint of this manga was essentially created by him. Keep that in mind, and you understand from Naruto that Kishimoto has always had one major aspect that he never lets go, and that's kind of some sort of mirroring between the events of what happens with Naruto and Sasuke. And if Sasuke has a clone there, a Shinjutsu clone with that Hidari character, then there's a high probability that Kishimoto is going to double down on that and have a Naruto Shinjutsu clone. Again, looks wise, he's not identical, but are any of the Shinjutsu completely identical to their counterparts? I mean, Moegi and that girl, yeah, they look kind of similar, but they still have their distinct looks, and at the end of the day, these are tree people. And the 2 potential names that he could have didn't really lend for me to kind of dive into any theories on what could be connected either, because Grain, obviously, like, you know, a grain of rice, or going against the grain, which I guess if you're really stretching it, Naruto always went against the grain. And then Ryu, it's kind of either a martial artist or a dragon and a home. So there's a lot of aspects that is like very vague to connect what the name could mean to a character per se that we have seen before. So the best things we have to go off at this particular point is context clues on what we've seen before. The only aspect that made me think of Shinki outside of the character design storyline was the fact that I think a chapter or two ago, we seen Boruto in a flashback, and it seemed as though he was potentially being hunted down by either Leaf Shinobi or Sand Shinobi. And that Sand Shinobi aspect could mean that during the time skip, maybe Boruto was actually riding out for a certain period of time with Shinki, and essentially that could kind of bring the character into the fold. But realistically, it makes more sense for it to be Naruto, again, with the whole Sasuke Hidari situation. And overall, the manga is continuing to heat up. Two Blue Vortex right now is looking crazy. Let me know what you guys think. The big question on everyone's mind right now, who is this character Ryu, aka Grain? Is this a Naruto clone, a Shinki clone, or somebody totally different that we're off the mark of? And your overall thoughts and expectations for Boruto 2 Blue Vortex coming in a couple of days. Gonna be crazy. That's all I have for this one. I'm Tim. As always, people, have an awesome day. Subscribe and hit that bell to get more. Thank you so much. Yeah.
But in the end, it always ends with the end. So let's not pretend we can always start anew. We can do it again.